What's up, ProGuides family? Welcome back to another video. My name is Nathan Ng, and today we're going to be talking about the Big Green. Because we've all wanted to be an AWPER at one point or another, in today's video we're going to be discussing the 3 different styles of AWPing, what they are, how to use them, and how to counter them. The goal of this video is to teach you guys all about the different styles, as well as making sure that you guys know what to do if you guys come across one. But before we do that, it's time for our question of the day. Today's question being, in your opinion, who's the best AWPer? For me, it's gotta be Simple. I think Simple has definitely proven himself in the last few years that he can do it all. I think he and Electronic are pretty much the only reason Navi is still relevant, and I think he should get huge props for that. And I'm not just saying that because he taught a master course over at ProGuides.com, but yeah, maybe there's some bias there. What about you though? Who do you think the best AWPer is? Make sure to let us know in the comments down below. First up, we got aggressive AWPing. The aggressive AWPing style is definitely one of the hardest to pull off consistently, and it's arguably also the most fun and definitely the most flashy. When you're AWPing aggressively, you don't want your opponents to plan the round, but instead you stop them before they can even try to do anything. It's not a question of how they'll run into you, but when they'll run into you. Because of that, playing against a confident, aggressive AWPer that's really good at the game is gonna ruin your fun, at least temporarily. At the same time though, AWPing aggressively is a whole lot more difficult than just sitting back, and instead of just playing the reaction time test and waiting for somebody to run into your crosshair, you're gonna have to actively keep peeking people, and that takes a whole lot of skill. AWPing might look and sound easy enough, but there's actually a bunch of skill in correctly predicting all the timings that are going into the right peek in the right time. Not just giving your opponents any space, but also not overextending and giving up free frags. Playing aggressive in CS in general takes a lot of game sense, and if you're going to be playing aggressively, you have to make a lot of decisions in a very short amount of time, and you can't really stop to think about anything. Therefore, it is only fair to say that playing aggressively with an AWP is fairly difficult, and that's before we even start talking about hitting the necessary shots. When you're playing aggressively, having a good crosshair placement is very important, but because of the way the game works, you can't always predict right, so you're gonna have to flick sometimes. If you're holding passively, you should only ever be exposed to one angle at a time, so flicking isn't really needed. Therefore, playing more aggressive not only takes more game sense, crosshair placement, and quick timing, but it also is more aim-based. With bad or average aim, you will not be able to get by, and it's probably much more worthwhile to adapt a more passive playstyle. As an aggressive AWPer, your role for the team a lot of the time is going to be to get either an opening kill, or get some kills to bring you back in an impossible round. A lot of the times, you're going to be the one that decides whether your team ends up losing or winning the round by either fragging or messing up. You truly are the big playmaker for your team. Because of that, being the aggressive AWPer for the team isn't just requiring a good amount of skill and game sense, but it actually is very mentally draining as well. If you aren't performing, your team will notice and suffer. If you're one of the aggressive AWPers for your team, your priority when practicing should be to find plays that you can do. Watching demos and practicing your fundamentals are therefore 2 very important parts of the role. When it comes to players you should look out for, I'd advise watching some players like Kenny S, JW, and Woxic and stealing some of their plays. Coming up with plays yourself is definitely possible too, but it's also difficult and likely the first few tries you won't understand why certain plays do and do not work. In the worst case scenarios, you learn to make plays that only actually work against bad players, essentially making sure that you won't rank up until you adjust. When it comes to countering aggressive AWPing, it can be quite difficult. If you want to stop an aggressive AWPer in its tracks, you can do it in a few ways. You can burn through a lot of your utility early and try to catch players that are pushed up too far, fully blinded by the flash that you just threw. You can also throw nades and mollies at the issues and then force them to play a more passive spot. And arguably the better way to deal with it is that if you're playing against high level players, just holding out for their aggression and then pre-firing the common spots is the right way to go. Aggressive play is great for catching players off guard, but if people are expecting you to push and they hold an annoying pixel angle, it becomes a lot more difficult to deal with. Basically, you could say that you can handle an aggressive AWPer in 2 ways. Either you go very aggressive to try to kill them full blind and out of position, or you can go very methodical, clearing each and every angle as slow and safe as possible and holding out for any aggression. The second style of AWPing is being passive. Unlike its aggressive equivalent, the passive AWPing style isn't about peeking and out-AWPing people, but rather about carefully picking the right angles to hold. If you could say the skill in aggressive AWPing is to find the openings and pounce by peeking at the right time, then you could go ahead and say that passive AWPing is to smartly and intelligently choose what angles you want to hold. An AWPer known for this style of AWPing is Device. I don't really think it's fair to call Device a passive AWPer just because he can pretty much do it all, but he's actually known for it. Passive AWPing is all about patience and holding a good angle, getting one, falling back and holding another angle, then getting another one, and then, well, falling back, getting kill, etc, etc. Doing this is a very consistent way of getting success and doesn't really require an amazing amount of aiming skills. It does, however, require some good angle knowledge and knowing when to fall back. When it comes to passive opping, it can definitely be learned. We recommend watching players like Device and Jame, and you should probably be able to get the grasp quite quickly. To be fair though, understanding how to play passively is quite an easy concept to understand, but also doing it is a whole different story. When you want to play an aggressive style, for some players it can be really difficult to not re-peek and then take unnecessary risks. A lot of players, especially in matchmaking, have re-peeking as their favorite hobby. So if you're one of those players, you might want to reconsider adopting the role. Having the discipline to play as you should isn't a skill that a lot of players have, and for a good reason. In general, it's a lot more fun to re-peek now than it is to wait another minute, at which point you may not get some action, which is the story of my love life, not getting action. Additionally, you need to have really good focus. Even when nobody peeks you for 20 seconds, you still need to be ready when they peek you 3 seconds later. I know for one, I find it really hard to actually play passive. To me, it can be super boring and not really fun, and I play games to have fun. After a second or two of no one peeking, I'll quickly get the urge to re-aggress and then push further and go out for a play. And although that is a good way to get some action and thus have the ability to improve, I'm sure it has cost me many games. Passive style is in a way definitely better than the aggressive style though, and if you're going to be passive, then you probably will become very consistent. If you're a more aggressive opper, you'll be forced to deal with the bad days where you just can't really aim. So how do you counter a passive opper? Well, the best way to do that is to use your smokes. Let's take Inferno A-site for example. If the passive opper is playing long on mid, then all you have to do is smoke them and then just take it. Later, once you start taking the site, you'll have to re-smoke and then he won't be an issue again. And lastly, what you want to do is you want to flash the site as soon as you start pushing it in case that opper does push through. This way, you should only ever die to the opper if he gets a lucky shot through the smoke, so try to avoid not peeking at the most predictable timing. An even simpler way to deal with this if your teammates aren't really working with you is just throwing a wide flash and then holding the potential repeat. The thing is, passive oppers are quite honestly pretty easy to deal with if your team has enough utility and teamwork, but since it's solo queue, this may not always be the case. In matchmaking, seeing teams with full executes and well-timed flashes isn't exactly common, so it's really hard to deal with passive oppers, but that also means that you can utilize it as well. Being a passive opper in a solo queue game can really take advantage of the lack of teamwork from the enemy team. It's actually one of the only reasons why ops are so powerful in matchmaking. If you're just starting out and want to be as effective as possible with an op, we therefore recommend you guys using this style. The last style that we're going to be going over is the hybrid style, which is, as you guessed it, combining both the passive and aggressive playstyles. Two examples of this style are ZywOo and Simple, which is pretty unsurprising because they're the number 1 and 2 players on the HLTV's top 20. The hybrid opping style is definitely one of the most difficult to master. You're gonna always need to decide where to go and adapt to the best situations. Being a little bit more of a dimensional opper isn't really an issue because even if you have mastered only one style, you can be very effective. But getting both down and combining the two is truly next level. Both ZywOo and Simple aren't going to do as many aggressive plays as JW or Kenny S, but at the same time they won't be as stationary as Device and won't save as much as Jame. You can also say that both players are the carrier of the team and why they're so successful. We wouldn't necessarily recommend trying to become a hybrid opper right away though, and we recommend you guys practicing one style first. Once you master one playstyle, you could go ahead and try mastering the other one. Only then, once you get both playstyles down, you should try doing both at the same time. When it comes to countering hybrid opping, there is no one answer. The whole point of hybrid opping is not being predictable and being hard to counter. You can't just rush the hybrid opper because you're going to get picked off one by one, but you also can't take hours to set up because you'll be taken down right when you least expect it. The reason hybrid oppers are so good is because they force you to play CS in a certain way. You can't be over aggressive or you'll be picked off, and you can't be overly passive or the round time will just expire. Because you have to play everything at a medium, you have to do it without making any mistakes and basically play the round perfectly. Drop the ball and you'll lose the round. If you just overpeak just one angle slightly, you might lose that round. And if you don't peek at all, well, guess what? The results are the same. Therefore, I could say that playing against a hybrid opper definitely takes the most skill, and playing as a hybrid opper takes a lot as well. To conclude all of this, there are 3 main styles. 1 is playing aggressively, 2 is playing passively, and 3 is combining the both to play hybrid. Which type of opper are you? Let us know in the comments down below, and also don't forget to let us know who your favorite opper is. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys liked what you saw, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And go ahead and ring that notification bell so you don't miss another video such as this. While you're at it, go ahead and head over to ProGuides.com to get yourself set up with a coach. And if you can't get a coach, and if that's not really your thing, go ahead and check out the masterclass by Simple himself. Anyway, I just want to let you guys know that I've been talking all day, so my voice has been pretty off, so if I sound a little bit weird in this video, that is why. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful day. Peace.